Hey y'all, let me get our link sent out to everybody and we'll be ready to start. Are you excited? I have my gloves on, so doing this with gloved hands. Ha ha ha. Okay. There you go. One more and we're ready. Let me know when you get in. All right. Shut everything down. All right. Let's give people time to get filtered in. I'm going to. Ooh, getting a little warm. As you come in, let me know you're here. I am going to. I want to wait before I pour that out. Have our resin here. I've already mixed up, put through the bubble remover machine so it's clear. A little bit of bubbles in there. I'm not worried about it. It will release. Hey, doll. Glad you joined us. We're letting everything set up. I think I need to change batteries in my thermometer, but we're at 96. You see that? So it's getting a little warm. It's all right. I'm not too worried about it. It's not burning up in my hand as I touch it. But y'all, today we're talking about the dreaded bloom. I know y'all really hate this. It's something that everyone wants to do. Here's ones I did last night. It's what we're going to be doing today. And I just put on a light pink mica. Is this? Nope, that's purple. Where is it? Here it is. I put on pink mica. Really beautiful. I love the glisten it gives in the background. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to break it down for you guys, and I'm going to make it easier, I hope. Here's the other one I did. A little red heart. So cute. And then I did a purple. And I have more alcohol ink to this one than I usually do because I was testing some things out. And these I just gave white paste background. So this is what we're going to be doing today. I want to show y'all how easy it is. First thing first, you're going to let your resin heat up. Thank you. I love them. They turned out great. But we're using we're going to be using our ocean white paste. And I'm going to show you how little it takes and what our ratio, consistency is probably a better word, of our paste when we mix it into the resin. I have my piping bag, and I use a cup for my piping bag. Put it inside, and then you can open your bag and put it around the rim of your cup. And that frees up both hands because I have my bag ready. So then I can pour my white into this piping bag and scrape everything out, and I have both hands to do it. So that's a little pro tip for you. Do y'all do this? Do you use this even maybe if you're baking or decorating cakes or cupcakes or whatever? I love this trick. My grandmother showed me this with a coffee cup. So, love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I think this is warming up. Yep, we're at 97 now. So, I want to first, a popsicle stick. What were they? I'm going to pour I'm only pouring a little bit in here because this does not take, once you start piping it, y'all see there's very little in there. Okay. And I'm going to let this sit just a minute. Let me pour. I'm just taking my clear resin. I'm giving myself a layer to put my alcohol inks in. And y'all, I have something new coming that I'm really excited to try. And I mixed up, what did I mix up? 6 ounces? I think I mixed up 6 ounces for these 3. And I'm not filling these all the way up because I want to put a backing color behind them. So I'm going to set this to the side. And I had the same inks out that I used last night. So let's get them all together. Yellow, purple, red, and orange, and aqua and raspberry are the colors that I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit a minute, and I'm going to get my white ready. I'm going to put this, all right, you can see it there. And I'm getting, hey Linda, hey Tony. Happy to have y'all. Oh, I see what you're saying. You saw someone use a popsicle stick and drop the white into it. You can do that, but I'm telling you, as a beginner, it's hard to control that because if you put too much or too thick of a line, then it's going to sink to the bottom, and we don't want that. So I suggest for beginners, use a piping bag. It's easier to control the width of your spiral because you want the width of your spiral to be about the size of a spaghetti noodle. Okay, that's where you're going to get your most success. If you make that the size of a spaghetti noodle, and you can control that by the size you cut in your bag. You can't control it if you're dipping it off your popsicle stick. Does that make more sense to you? Oh gosh. All right. So we have our white ocean, and I am using, wow. All right, let me get another popsicle stick because that has some husky hair on there. Don't want that. I'm going to use a popsicle stick, and I want to show you how little. It always starts small because, like I say, you can add more, but you can't take it out. So a little more than that. All right, do you see that? That's all I'm putting in, this resin. I'm going to set this to the side. So if I need to add more, I can. And I want you to watch how quickly this turns. Ooh, and this is really getting warm. So we need to get a move on. That's good. And you want your resin warm to touch, y'all. Okay? Because that thickens your resin up. And look, okay, right now we have like a 2% milk. You can still see my stick very clearly. So I'm going to add a little more. I want to wipe my stick off, and I'm adding a little more. That's it, just a little drop. And I'm going to get that color that's between whole milk and 2% milk. That's the color you want your white. Okay? I'm mixing this because I want to get this in the bag and I want to get my colors pour it out. All right, see the difference now? This is darker. You can't see my stick as easily. This is the color that you want, okay? Now, I'm going to put this, and this is what I mean if you have two hands to dump this into your piping bag, like so. And you make sure you get everything out of your cup, too. Okay? All right. I'm going to get rid of my little thing. I have my trash can right here next to me. And I'm going to set this cup to the side. It's ready to use for something else. I have my piping bag, and I'm just going to twist it. Okay? And if you have a problem keeping it down, you could take some tape it around so it stays shut and you don't have to fight with it. But if you're used to it, just keep it twisted, pinch with your finger and your thumb, and that's going to hold it. Now see, we have this clear at the bottom. I will cut that off when I'm ready to pipe. I'm not cutting it right now because it will leak out everywhere. So I'm just going to stick this back, keep it wound up in my little cup so it's ready. Now I want to put my inks in my resin. And I want to do my lighter colors in the middle. That's just my preference. I may switch it up and we'll do dark in the middle and lighter on the outside. To go, well, y'all, there we go. Whew, red did not want to open today. And I'm just letting it drop. It's going to spread, and that's what I love about Let's Resin alcohol inks. They stay vibrant, and they really spread. And for this batch today, I'm not going back adding a second round of colorant. Look at that, y'all. So why we wear gloves, or you're going to be stained. Okay, that goes with that. Now we're going to do our aqua. And let's do this one in the middle. And we'll do our raspberry on the outside. Look at that bright, y'all. I love this. One of my favorite ones. And you see it stained my mold. There we go. Thank you so much for that reminder. Hey, Rebecca. This white is the Ocean. Let's Resin Ocean white. It's their paste that has their selling in it. Okay? So it's the one that we use to create our beach scenes. Now this, I'm going to do, woo, it's really coming out. Purple on the outside, yellow in the middle. Y'all see this is really... All right. We'll add one more there. Oh, well, two decided to jump out there, didn't it? So we're going to do yellow. Yes, if y'all haven't already, take time out and hit that like button. It really helps other artists find this. So I know there's a lot of people struggling with these blooms because I get questions about blooms all the time. So that will be very, very helpful. Thanks for that reminder. Oh, where'd it go? Here she is. Rebecca, we're doing good here. Our temperatures have chilled out. We're not getting snow and all the craziness we were getting. Now, y'all saw I was keeping track of my clear resin temperature-wise. Here is the key and the temperature zone you're aiming for, okay? 31 degrees Celsius, which is 90. Hold on. Oh, I can't look. on my phone. I'm recording on my phone. I had it all saved. So let's do this. 31 Celsius is 87.8. I say make sure you're like 92, 93. Okay. That's what I want mine to be. So 92, let's see what that is. 92 degrees Fahrenheit is 33 degrees Celsius. So hopefully that helps you guys. That's what I would aim for your temperature of your resin. Once your resin, all of your resin reaches that temperature, then you want to pour your white into that little cup because you're going to separate that out, add your white colorant, okay? And you want it between 2% milk and whole milk. You want that color in between those. So a little darker than 2% milk, a little less than whole milk, which would be a solid white. You don't want solid white because this is like a paste, y'all. So, all right, when I fill my bag, it's warm. Let's see if it'll register through. Yeah, it says it's 96 through my piping bag. Where's my scissors? Oh, now I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just taking a very small amount off the tip because, and I'm gonna cut it over here because I don't want it in my project. And then I'm gonna have, make this over, a paper towel or a baby wipe, and I'm just gonna squeeze to get it started, get any air out. Okay. So hold it like this, make sure it's good to go, and then I'm going to start in the middle and start piping. And you see, this is about the width of a spaghetti noodle. And if you get any clumps, right? All right, so if you got a clump in there, you can take a silicone tip tool and stretch it out like this one. I just want to stretch it out so it's not a clump. Because if you get these clumps, they're going to sink straight down because they're heavy. And we don't want that. So let's start this one on the outside. And I know y'all are probably asking me questions, but I gotta pay attention. Or, all right, let that go. And now we're going to do this. And just going to go around the outside and then swirl. And y'all, it doesn't have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect at all. Go back and add a little more around the outside of these because as you let them sit, they're going to start going toward the middle. Okay. So any little areas that we may have missed, squeeze this up, twist. So it's easier to control. That's the key. Keep your white so it's easier to control. All right, we're almost out. So I'm just going to put it in here. Done. That's my throwaway pile. So I'm going to let that sit a minute, okay? And I'm going to get my stick ready. And let me look at your questions. Now we have two Rebeccas. Hey, Melinda. Glad you're here. And I'm going to go over and do a review of all of this. So we have multiple Rebeccas. I love it. So far, does this seem intimidating to you? Does it seem like it's something that you feel more comfortable trying? I'm trying to clean off the silicone tip, y'all. And I'm going to show you another way that you can do your things. And I think for this one, I'm not going to take mine back out. I'm not doing that. I'll show you with one what I'm talking about. And it's really your choice. You decide what you want to do. Okay? So we're going to let that sit because now that these are poured out, see where it's cooled down. So it's poured out. It's not all together in one. This one's a little warmer. 95. So when you pour it out for your cup into these smaller coasters, it cools it down. So give it a minute. And if your coaster is cold because it's cold outside, or like me, you live in the mountains or something like that, you can always heat your mold up. Don't make it scorching hot. Just take that chill off of it. And you can do that by putting it in some warm water. You can run your heat gun over it, whatever you want to do. But remember, this is the key. If you heat your resin up, you're taking away time from your working clock. You're speeding up the curing process. So keep that in mind and don't use a lot. And you can see this is really starting to bloom and spread out. So some of these little areas I want to stretch out. And that's all we're doing, just stretching it out. Like here. There's some here. We just want to stretch out because I don't want it sinking to the bottom and then we have a little blob. We don't want any blobs. Okay. We have a few here. Little blobs, just stretching them. We want them to bloom. We just don't want them to sink. No sinkers. We're not fishing. All right. So I've let this sit. I'm checking it with my thermometer. And this is just like, see, we're at 95. 94. 90. I bet if I put it toward the outside. Oh, it says low. See, I love the thermometer. This is just like a kid's put to their forehead, push it, see if they have a fever or not. So I like this thermometer, and it also has a setting. You can change it to Celsius or Fahrenheit. But it's really simple to use. You just press a button. It gives you, you'll see a little green light go down, and then it registers the temperature of your resin. Super easy to deal with. Now, let's talk about drawing and getting the petals like we got on this one. How do we get this creation? I'm going to show you, and it's super easy. You're going to be shocked. I am OCD, really about things being level. If you do something to one side, you need to do it to the other side. It's not like diagnosed OCD, anything like that. I'm just very particular about that. To the point my kids point out crooked pictures in doctor's offices for me to correct. Do y'all have children like that? So this is how I do my blooms. When I'm drawing my lines, I start like here's a corner. I'm going to start here, and I'm not going to put my tip all the way to the bottom to drag on the silicone. I'm going to put it down about halfway because remember we're working with alcohol inks, and what does alcohol ink do? It floats to the top. So you don't have to go down real deep to pick up your color that you dropped in here, okay? So I put it in, I start at 12 o'clock, then I go to 6 o'clock, then I go 3, 9, between 12 and 3, etc. Okay, and you're gonna see. So I pull this in, and I want to wipe off my stick because I don't want to mix up colors all throughout. So I did it to the top. I'm gonna do it to the bottom. I do it at 3 o'clock. I'm gonna do it at 6 o'clock, and I'm wiping it off every time so I'm not mixing up my colors. Now I have 4 like little leaves or 4 areas. I'm splitting them in half. So around 2 o'clock, around 7 o'clock. And you see we have different petals. We have a big one and we have 2 little ones. That's what we're doing. We're splitting these off. Okay? So, now, I'm done doing that. That's the only ones I do. 12, 6, 3, 9, 2, 7, 4, 10. That's what my brain says. Yes, don't stick your stick all the way down to the bottom of your coaster. You don't want to do that. Your tip of your silicone should never hit the bottom of your coaster, ever. You want to just put it in and drag your color like so, without dragging the bottom. And I see my huskies are trying to join in. Now, when I get to the stage and I see a hair, got it. All right, so I'm going to fix that since we had a hair. All right, now what I do to finish it is I start wide because I like the effect of a rose. And you just slowly stir toward the center, lift up, and you're done. And that one's done. I'm not taking it out to the sides, and I'll show you in a different one what I mean by that. Okay? So let me get some more handy dandy baby wipes to wipe off my stick. Okay. Let's go. I'll do this one in and out. Let's go to purple. Oh, see, I still have stuff on my stick. I want to wipe it off so that pink does not get into my purple. Y'all following so far? I'm going to stop before I go to the next one. Y'all have any questions about what we've done so far? Anything confuse you? Because I really want to break this down for you guys. Good, Linda. It isn't hard. I promise you it's not as hard. It's very scary and intimidating. But once you learn a technique, and really honestly, it boils down to heating up your resin. And here's the other thing. Use a thicker resin. I'm not using less resin for this because it's pretty thin. I'm using Teak Spurt, which is more, it has a higher viscosity or a higher thickness to it. And then when you let it sit and warm up, your resin thickens up. That's one of the main reasons you want it to be warm also, is because it thickens your resin. Because if you have a thin resin, when you put your alcohol inks and your paste in with your swirls, it's going to sink straight to the bottom. Like if you put a pebble in a glass of water, it's going straight to the bottom. Now, if you put a pebble in some honey, it has some resistance, so it takes longer to get to the bottom. So when we say you need a thicker resin, that's why, because paste is heavy like a brick, remember, so it's going to sink. And you want to have some resistance to keep it from going straight to the bottom. So never use this with a deep pour. Don't use it with a super thin resin. Make sure you have it doesn't have to be thicker, but tabletop is good. A coating resin is good. So that's another pro tip for you. Pop that bubble. All right, these are really heating up, so I need to go. All right, so for the heart, we're going to go top to bottom, bottom in, and then we're going to go at 9 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, and we'll go here. Like so. And we're going to separate that. All right. And I'm going to swirl this again to make that rosebud center. And I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to the outside again on that one. I'm going to go to the outside on this one. See, we still have purple and stuff. I have a new wipe. I'm going to wipe that purple off. So we have clear tool. What's the difference between paste and sinker wipe? That is a great question. I get asked that a lot. A paste is strictly paste. It's heavy like a brick and it's going to sink straight away. It's going to add weight to your resin, which is going to break the tension of your bubbles. So I've said before, when I use a pigment paste to color my projects, I have fewer bubbles because the weight of the pigment paste helps break the tension of bubbles too. So that's something to keep in mind. A sinker white is an alcohol ink that's white that has a teeny little bit of paste in it. And that's what makes it sink toward the bottom and create those spore-like effects for the Petri. So does that help? The sinker has an alcohol ink included with the paste, and the paste is strictly paste, nothing else. Well, this one has an additive to create selling like for our oceans. But let's get this one done. All right, we're going to start at the top. We're going to go 6 o'clock in. Oh, no. Y'all, that was a fail. Did you see what happened? Look at that. Mess. Let me get this. Wow. Well, that's going to be an interesting design. All right. Let me clean myself up. Wow. Good. I'm glad that helped. Okay. Let me move this over. This is going to be a hot mess, but that's okay. Let's finish this. We did top, bottom. Now we're going to do 9 o'clock. I went out of order. 30 o'clock. Let me spread this out so I have. And then we're going to do here. Here. I'm going to do 2. All right. So we have our little sections here, and you can see them. Now what we're going to do is you can bring this color up through your petals, the top of your petal, and you start from the middle and you go outside. So you see how it drew that color up through the petal? So that's what we're doing. And if you'll notice on some of these, I'll show you my other one in a minute. It has like little spokes, and that's how you know that the colorant has been brought up, because it kind of looks like a star, right? Like so. So let me throw this away. Lord have mercy, I'm making a mess today. All right, so you see that looks like starfish, right? Here. So I'm going to wipe this off, and then I'm going to go in the center, and I'm going to do that rosebud center, okay? And I like starting wide with mine. And slowly lift up. And that's it. That's all we did, and that's all we're going to do. So you see how this looks like spokes off of that, where this doesn't? That's the difference of going from the middle out. It drives this color up through your leaves, through each petal. So you get that effect. See how it kind of looks like a Chinese throwing star with the spokes on it? Because I brought the color up from the center up through the leaves. That's why that does that. So these, we didn't do that. Well, this one's kind of, we'll see what happens with it. But this one, we pulled the color up through the leaves, and we're going to do a traditional, that's a traditional bloom. There's all kind of techniques, and I'm telling y'all, I have a surprise. When I can get it, I'm going to get it. Less Resin has a new paste out that you can use to color. So you can have different color blooms because of this paste they created. You don't have to use alcohol inks. You can use this new color paste that they just put out. So I'm going to get my hands on that. I'm going to experiment, and it could take the mess of alcohol inks out of making blooms. That would be cool. Now, I'm fixing to do something I tell y'all not to do. I have given plenty of time for the stuff to evaporate off. And I'm taking a very baby little brulee torch, and I'm holding it over the center. I'm not going to go around the outside, any of that. I'm simply quick little spurt of fire around the center. That's it. But because that's it, just a snap. Nowhere near the edge of my mold. You can put alcohol ink to get any residual bubbles, but frankly, I would not use alcohol because you're going to disrupt your design. Secondly, this resin is really good about releasing its own bubbles. So if you don't just click and pull back, you shouldn't have a problem. If you just click it and pull back. So like you have a big bubble, you see it, and you just click it one time. Because all I'm doing, see that? Just one little click. And I'm not right down on it. I'm up a little bit. So I shouldn't have a problem. And let me tell you, if I have a problem, these are super old molds. I'm going to use them as an example with some more pro tips on how to revive your molds. That's how old these are. So I'm not too worried about it. But y'all, we have to let this cure. And when we come back, we'll put a backing on it. Maybe I'll just leave them blank. Maybe I'll leave it clear and take pictures for you guys and let you see it, what it looks like clear. Because these, I put the Peak mica on as a backing for this. And the others, I just use white paste to really make the flower jump off the background. You can put black behind some of these. With these colors, I wouldn't do that. If you're using like an orange or just pink, black would let that jump off. With the white from the bloom itself, it's really going to jump off. But you can see up close in this all the little ways we let resin dance around, and it creates just these beautiful little techniques. So don't be afraid to do a bloom. I really, really, really hope this made it more approachable for you, because I know a lot of people are very scared to even attempt them. So I hope you understand. Here's the review. First things first, pour your resin, mix it up. If you want to put it in the debubbler, great. You don't have to, because like I said, T-Spurt and Let's Resin, they're pretty good about releasing their bubbles. So that's no big deal. But you want it to heat up. So set it aside, let it heat up, have your thermometer, and it should be about between 94 and 96 is what I'm saying, Fahrenheit. So between 32 and 34 Celsius. You want your resin to be there in its cup. Then you're going to pour out your little white allotment, your little, like, less than an ounce. That's all it took for 3 of these. And I had some left over. Pour that to the side for your white. And then mix your white. Let this continue to sit. Mix your white up till it's between the color of whole milk and 2% milk. You want that middle ground because that's going to give you enough to give you definition for your blooms, but not enough that it's going to sink straight to the bottom, right? So there's that one too. So between whole milk and 2%, you get a defined bloom with 0 sinking and blobs to the bottom. And then once you have got your white stirred up, put in your piping bag, then drop your alcohol ink colors. And I say only 1 round, because these are, if you want to go back in and add more, like when this started shrinking toward the center, I can add more around the outside, which is what I did with this one. I added a lot more purple to this than we have here. So you can go back in and add more if you want to. It's up to your taste, what you want to do, what the effect you want, all that. Once you add your inks, then you take your piping bag. Remember, you snip a small hole because you can always snip more if it's not big enough, but you can't add the bag back if you snip too much. So always start small. Same thing with your white paste. Start with just the tip of your popsicle stick, just that little bitty amount, remember, and test that. And if you need to, add a little bit more, because like I said, you can add more, but you can't take it away if you put too much. So keep that in mind. Then you pipe your swirls, and remember, they want to be the thickness of spaghetti noodle. In any little blobs, you simply stretch out with a silicone stick. You could use a toothpick too, but just be very careful because you can scratch your silicone molds using toothpicks. I prefer using silicone tip tools. You can get them, look up silicone tip tools, nail supplies, whatever. You're going to find it super easy. And that's the safest way to do it. Then once you get all of your swirls in, you do the clock method. 12, 6, 3, 9. I should make a song, huh? 12, 6, 3, 9, 2, 7, 5, 10. Or 4, 10. Good enough. You know what I mean. So the clock method. Top, bottom, da 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 da. Pull everything from the outside to the middle. And if you want to, then you can go back and pull your middle color up through your petals to create the spoke light. And then the last thing you do is swirl your rosebud slowly, pull it up, and leave it alone and let it cure. Let resin do its thing. It's all done. But y'all, it's that easy. I promise you. Give it a try. If it doesn't work out the first time, don't get frustrated. That's why we're here. We practice, right? Practice makes perfect. If we have an accident like this, by accidentally dipping your baby wipe into your resin, it's all right. It can be a happy little accident. It may turn out amazing. We don't know. Don't really care. It's not going to ruin my day. So if it doesn't turn out like this the first time, don't get down on yourself. Remember, I say this. This is the biggest thing that I pass to everyone. Give yourself the same grace that you give to other artists, because you're worthy of that grace too. People forget that. We're very perfectionists. We get very down on ourselves, thinking we should get it all right, perfect. We're all human, y'all, and we're all learning. So give yourself that grace. If it doesn't turn out the first time, go back to the drawing board. Make sure you're using a good quality resin, good quality inks, and a good quality white. But that's all I have for this one, y'all. I'm so glad we did this. I hope this really helps. I can't wait for you to tell me this helped. Leave me a comment and tell me one thing you learned today that you did not know before going in to this live. I'm super excited, y'all. I can't wait to see your new projects. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to be a fun one. And that's all I have for this one. Be sure to do all the YouTube things. Give this a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. That doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to join the channel, if you want to help support, because I have no sponsors, none of that. What you see here is what I buy for myself. So if you want to pitch in and help out, hit the join button, become a member of the channel. That helps a lot. Or if you want to donate, you can buy me a coffee. All the links are there. I'll make sure that they're in the description too. But you guys, that's all we have for this one. Until next time, happy arting. Ta-ta for now.